All right, and we are back and ready to move on with our discussion of courting and dating. This will be part 5, and I can't get my hair situated. It's like I want to pull it back, but I don't want to. I don't want my hair sticking out. Courting and dating part 5. Empaths and narcissists. And this will hopefully just be a shorter one. Part 1, we covered differences between courtship and dating, and similarities. Similarities and differences between courting and dating, and also with being on the same vibration as your person. Part 2, we covered families. Your family, their family. If you don't have family, that kind of thing. Family dynamics, because like if this is going to be your partner, then you need to know about their family and how they work and how they grew up, and you need to know these things. Part 3 was about children. Yours plus theirs equals ours. Knowing who your children are, knowing if trying avoiding being surprised in the middle of a relationship with somebody coming forward saying, "Oh, you're the father of my child, you're the mother." Well, it's not really a surprise for the mother of the child, but you know what I mean. And also, let's see, part 4. Part 4 is about co-parenting and co-grandparenting, because there's so many different family dynamics these days. So there's that. And let's see. This is part 5. Part 5. I think we're going to do empaths and narcissists. That is a very serious subject in the dating realms here lately. Yeah, it's been a very important part of my journey. And from the amount of people that I've talked to, numerously, that's the biggest issue, is we have the narcissists and the empaths. And then we have the empaths that are acting like narcissists. So first of all, what is a narcissist? Oh, Lord Jesus. Let's ask Google. Alright, Google. Define narcissist. A person who has an excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. Like, this is not healthy self-care. Narcissism is not healthy self-care. It is, I want it all. I want it the way I want it. I want it now, and I want it no matter the cost. I want it no matter who it hurts. I want what I want, and I'll have it. That's your narcissist. And let's go for empath. Define empath. An empath is one who exhibits empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So your empaths and your healers are going to be who your very hurt, traumatized narcissists are going to be targeting for the most part. These are things you should definitely Google. Characteristics of an empath, characteristics of a narcissist. You need to look up things like what is gaslighting, what is love bombing, energy vampires. These are all terms you need to look up. Search this shit out for yourself, because I already took a Ricola cough drop, and I'm sipping on my warm tea to get my apparently the way I've been talking has been wearing me out. I've made several hours worth of video for this series, and I'm just gonna keep on going. Went downstairs, got myself some lunch and a cup of tea. I'm back up here. It's beautiful outside, so maybe my next series of videos or like my readings for my other channel will be done outside because it's gorgeous out, and I'm sitting in my room recording. So, you know, anyway, let's see. I want to plug that in. I need to plug my iPad in, make sure we're going to keep it rolling. And, there we go, because I'm uploading videos at the same time. My Wi-Fi is shit today, so I'm also trying to upload like 4 videos at once. Plus this one, so and just get them out there, you know. But yeah, my videos are meant to give you a little information, set you on a path to guide you to doing your own research, finding your own information, making your own observations about your own path, your own life, and your own partners. You know, I don't learn from my experiences and the things that I'm vulnerable enough to share. Learn from my mistakes, learn from my non-mistakes, learn from my non-regrets, you know, if you want to, care to, whatever. But also be looking for your, you know, look to your own stuff, you know. This tea is amazing. It's an herbal blend. It's called Pixie Dust. It's from Jolie Tea Company. So if you're ever in Salem, Jolie Tea. And I've always wanted to go in there, and for some reason I've not gone in there to have tea yet. I can't figure that out. I just keep forgetting about it. But now I have to go in there because now I can get my... you can have them make blends. It's like Tivana but better because it's local. So anyway, yeah, my videos are just, I got something to help spur you on to do research and search out yourself and search out your situation, your partnership, your whatever, your life, whatever you got going on, you know, search it out. If I want to know something about why the fuck do I keep doing this? Why the hell am I why do I keep repeating this cycle? How many times am I going to go around this mountain? You know, when I started asking those questions, I started searching for the answers, and I found them. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will open. You know, ask and the answer will be given to you. So, you know, I live by those things. I didn't even have to put no kind of sugar in this tea. It's so good. It's all fruity and hibiscus, and I had never had nothing like that. It's nice. So take a moment to enjoy a cup of tea, or like, this is non-caffeinated, so it's not going to be acidic either. It does have a little bit of citrus in it, but not much. I think it looked like an orange peel in there. I'm not sure. And I forgot what the label said. But yeah, just take time and just take a deep breath and enjoy stuff. I've talked about a lot of heavy things this morning. A lot of things that like that I normally wouldn't talk about with social media. But if I have helped others in their journey as I meet them on my journey, and, you know, they call back later, they text back later, hey, I'm so glad we had that conversation and it really helped me make better decisions for myself in my life. Or, oh shit, I didn't listen to you and you were right. and now I can make better decisions about my life. You know, anything. So here I am, sharing it, being vulnerable. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Find it out. Or let it be. Whichever suits your situation. So yeah. Empaths and narcissists, definitely do your research. Look for do your research on it. Google red flags for narcissistic empath relationships, for domestic violence relationships. Research what the different kinds of abuses are, because like there's everything. There's mental, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual, financial. All these are different kinds of areas where you can be abused, and where people will, some people may take advantage of that and mistreat you in those areas. But also they, with the opportunity to mistreat you in those areas and abuse you in those areas, there's also, you know, the other side of the coin, which is loving people in those areas of mental, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual, financial, all that. So, you know, do your research and set your boundaries in each area. You know, what will you allow mentally? What will you allow emotionally? What will you allow physically, sexually, spiritually, and financially? What boundaries will you set for yourself and for others to adhere to when they interact with you in those areas? You know, and a lot of times we find that we don't have boundaries, healthy boundaries, because we didn't grow up with healthy boundaries. We didn't have anything healthy. A lot of times, I'm not saying everybody, of course. Like there's people that grew up in wonderful, beautiful, healthy relationships and family dynamics with boundaries and things. And like for those of us who did not, it is like mind blowing. Like, holy fuck, dude, that exists. I thought there had to be something besides what I saw and learned growing up. All these behaviors that I learned, all these lack of boundaries, all of this, you know. And it's it's very encouraging to know that there's people out there that have experienced good, healthy boundaries in their relationships and with their families and stuff. But for the majority of people, I would have to say the majority of people that I have met in my life have not had that. And so we're looking at it from a perspective of, you know, we grew up fucked up, so how do we unfuck it? How do we, you know, then the first step is recognizing what does not feel good to you, what does not feel good to you, what does not feel right to you, what violated you, what made you feel some type of way, and write those things down. That's the best way to remember those things, is to write them down. And then study, you know, Google healthy family dynamics. Or write down what you would have rathered than the action or the words instead of what hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So like, instead of berating from your parents, constructive criticism or positive reinforcement, and you can look both of those words up, Google those too. You know, those are things that you can research and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I would have much rather my parents said it this way than the way they said it, and made me feel like I was stupid, you know. And as a young parent, man, I will have to say, looking back, definitely, and even while I was in the middle of it, I was looking at my parenting like, oh my God, I need to give myself and these kids a break. I've become too toxic in all my pain to be able to parent them in the way that they need parenting, and I would rather let them go stay with their dad's family, with their dad and his family, as opposed to me just drive a bigger wedge between me and them, and let them spend the time with their dad, because I had been their primary caregiver, you know, for like about almost 10 years? About 7-8 years, for sure. I think I only stayed another year or so after my kids moved up to Kentucky, their dad's family, in Georgia. So, yeah. So it was like, you know, I've raised them. I had my time, my season, with doing the best I could with them, and now, you know, they miss their dad. They would like time with their dad. Their dad would like time with them. So, hey, it's a good time. The boys are starting to be teenagers. It'll be time to learn to drive soon. You know, that sort of thing. Things that, you know, hunting and fishing, things like that. You know, things that fathers and sons can do together. That's what that's my highest hopes for my kids, going to their dads. My highest hopes and prayers, yeah. You can only pray so much, honey. There's a thing called free will. Motherfuckers gonna be motherfuckers. But, anyway, yeah, so, without just, like, pouring out my entire personal experience of growing up with a very abusive, narcissistic dad and a very empathic, healing, wonderful mother with no boundaries, and then putting myself in the same position with a narcissistic spouse that was like not much different from my dad. And also, like, I was the empath healer, so, like, this person, the narcissist usually feeds off of the empath. And if they can't get your love, they will go for your anger. You ever notice that whenever you cut somebody off from your love or from sex, or, you know, you're just like, hey, I need my bubble. You've really violated me, and I need my bubble. Like, please, just stay away. And then they will find some way, somehow, to, like, punish you, or or they will find some way to start nitpicking at you and start an argument with you, which is an interesting thing. There's nothing more enjoyable. I repeat, there is nothing more enjoyable than getting in the middle of finding yourself in the middle of an argument that you understand you don't have to argue about. Silence is your best friend. Silence is golden. It's the most wonderful response you can respond with, okay? It's beautiful. And especially when a narcissist has got you riled up and they're getting you to banter back and forth with them. Well, they're feeding off of the energy you're putting out, okay? Like, whether it's love, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, whether it's tears and crying, whether it's depression, whether it's hurt, they feed off your energy, honey. And so you've got to understand that when you cut that off and they'll be like, me, and they're expecting you to back, you just look at them like, dead. They can't feed off of that. They cannot feed off of your silence. They cannot feed off of it whenever you shut your energy down and you refuse to give to the situation. And it takes a hell of a lot of self-control to do. No, it don't even take a lot of self-control. Because once you start practicing it and enjoying the power of, like, shutting a motherfucker down, and, you know, sometimes they'll get violent with you. They will. That's just a fact. If a narcissist cannot get out of you verbally what they want or sexually what they want, they will get physical. They may not have yet, but honey, they will. Whether it's a man, woman, or this or that or the other. I don't give a fuck what it is. If it's a narcissist, it will do that. They say there's no cure for narcissism. I say different. I trained myself to think like a narcissist in order to live with a narcissist when I was growing up. And so I also studied my ex-husband for 10 years solid. Studied all his patterns, his behaviors, his thought processes, how different drugs affected him, how when you mix different drugs, how that affected him, and what, you know, there was like certain things like, hey, I would much rather you do meth than mix cocaine with alcohol. I cannot deal with your ass on cocaine and alcohol. I will not put up with that. So I would rather you do meth. You know, because and that was real. That was a real conversation. You know, and it's because like he behaved somewhat better on the meth. At least he wasn't mood swinging from 1 minute wanting to love on me to the next minute wanting to cry baby and be a bitch about stuff, or fucking ranting and railing at me, calling me every name in the book just because he was the one cheating on me and he was pointing the finger in my direction. Little Miss Faithful over here, you know, like, and it got to the point where it's like, hey, looks like you would like stop accusing me, because you know that I know that every time you're accusing me of being a whore and going around and doing things and stuff with other people, that's when I know you're fucking around on me. I don't have to ask nobody. You fucking tell on yourself every time, dude. And he still could not override it. He still couldn't be smart enough to keep his mouth shut. Like his own guilt and shame over having a woman that was as good as I am and as wonderful as I am. And then he went and like fucked these old whores and shit. The ones that everybody else was having. Like, like, I'm sorry. No. So, I mean, like, yeah, narcissism at its finest even cannot, it can't help itself. But, one thing that I did find is that there is a cure for narcissism, and it's a changing of the mind and the ego, and the only thing that I have found so far, the avenue that I found it with, is Jesus. When the Bible speaks about the mind of Christ, having the mind of Christ, you first have to start a relationship with Christ. And then if you believe what the Bible says and you want to speak those affirmations and things over yourself, then you start speaking, I have the mind of Christ. I have the mind of Christ. The mind of Christ is not narcissistic. The mind of Christ is empathic. The mind of Christ remembers people's names. If you have trouble remembering people's names, I have the mind of Christ. Jesus knows everybody's name and he don't forget it. So I have that mind in me. So therefore I remember people's names, because the one who knows their name lives inside me and I have access to their name at any time. Yeah. That's how you can start remembering people. And, you know, I worked on that because for a long time I couldn't remember things. I trained myself as a drug dealer's wife not to hear or remember things that I did not need for the present moment. So I lost a lot of stuff. And then trauma on top of trauma, severe severely detrimental, traumatic, emotional, and mental abuse consistently was just yeah, it was very detrimental to my memory capacity. And so it's like I had to go to Jesus and get a couple more gigs of memory. Realize that I'm connected to the eye. He's like the iCloud. I'm connected to that now. You know, he's my iCloud. I'm connected, so I can remember these things. You know. Yeah. Apparently, it's very comforting for me to hold this while I speak of these things, because they're very deep and very personal, and I don't usually share things like this, especially on a social platform where you know, where just anybody can watch. So this is me being vulnerable. Not trying to say anything bad about anybody. I'm just speaking my fucking experience, and if you're a part of making my experience traumatic, then that's on you. You should have done better. You should have done better. You should have chosen to help yourself, heal yourself, or at least to not hurt other people. It's always a choice. There's always a choice. Yeah, like Billy the Kid said, I'll make you famous. I tell people that, like, I'm a poet. My weapon is my pen and my paper, honey. And that's what poets do. They write about the realness of life, the heartache, the laughter, the tears, the joy, the pain, the peace, the beauty, the gratitude, the realities. It's how people deal with it. So, but okay, we got 27 minutes. So yeah, definitely do your research on that Mercury retrograde's about got my tongue tied a little bit on that. So yeah, do your research, you know, and if you find that in your research that you're like, oh my gosh, this is how I deal with people. I have narcissistic characteristics. I have narcissistic tendencies. I'm an energy vampire in this way. Then you definitely should be thankful that you are aware enough to recognize those things. Because first of all, you got to recognize it. Second of all, you got to research what people have done in order to help heal these wounds that cause you to be narcissistic, or that are the root of your narcissism. Okay? And then you need to heal those. You need to take the steps and do the action work. You got to do the work. And it's work. You know, I could read books all fucking day, dude. All day I can read the books and say, oh yeah, that makes sense, and that's a good idea to do that meditation or this meditation or that journal entry or this journal entry. But look, if I don't get my pen and paper out and do the damn entry and write that shit down, if I don't like get myself centered and do the meditation exercise or the protection exercise, then it was pointless. It's just still knowledge. It's not wisdom, and it's not helped me at all. So you have to do the work. Because I caught myself not doing the work, just reading a book and thinking that was going to help me. Hell no, you got to do the work. You got to do the grunt work. You know? Let me go grab a couple books to recommend. Oh yeah, and this one too. Wow. Okay, yeah, these are the main ones. Oh, I hear that helicopter. Whoop. Got to see a little bit of leg there. I've been trying to avoid that. I'm learning how to wear dresses. Like, that's a big step for me. I'm learning about wearing dresses and feeling feminine because of the narcissistic, patriarchal bullshit that was put on me when I was a child. and the abuses that happened to me as a child that made it unfavorable to wear a dress where it's easy for somebody to come by and reach up and under your dress, or to, you know, pull it up and pull your panties down real quick, you know. When I go to places I don't know, I wear some tight ass clothing, and I usually wear more than one layer. Like, if a motherfucker's going to try to take what's mine and rape me or molest me in some way, then by God, he's going to have it to do. He's going to have to put the fucking work in, you know. I'm going to wear my shit so tight, you know. And that's just sad that I have to protect myself that way. You know, it's not like I'm trying to get your attention by wearing something tight. It's because I'm trying to fucking protect myself because I've been violated. It ain't easy being a woman or a child out here in this world anymore. So anyway, in any and all relationships with yourself and with the rest of the world, this book, Boundaries, by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend, is amazing. And like I'll tell you in my other videos as well, if you don't read, if you're not a reader, if you learn better by hearing, get the audio book, go to your local library, check out the audios. They've got CDs, they've got DVDs, they've got, you know, and if they don't have them, you can probably get them. Oh shit, they're not. I got a book that's long overdue because I changed addresses and phone numbers, and now I don't get the notifications, and I keep forgetting. So shit. And it's a book I ain't even read, and probably ain't gonna read. Ew. It's a good thing we got the screen between us. Sometimes I spit a little bit when I talk, like we all do, right? So the next book I'm gonna recommend, and YouTube, look up these authors and these book titles on YouTube, and a lot of times you can find an audio version on YouTube. It's free, okay? All this information at your hands is free, and it's crazy if you don't use it. It's crazy if you don't listen to it. It's crazy if you don't utilize it, turn it into wisdom. Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life, Marshall Rosenberg, PhD. Amazing. It has really helped me to minister love and to work with people. And honestly, I need to brush back up on it. I need to finish the book completely, and because I don't know where I got to. Life happened and I was on the road, but I carried it with me all this way. These are the two books that I have not let go of because they are the most important, and I know that I can reference them at any time. Boy, that helicopters are getting loud. So most important books you will ever read. And this is the second edition, I think. This is the updated and expanded edition of this. So I always get the updated and expanded editions, or revised. The updated, the most recent edition, because they're going to have more like notes and stuff in there. And as far as energy goes, Own Your Own Energy by Allah Verenskaya. I'm so sorry. She's a Russian lady. She is amazing. She is she is a medically trained fifth generation energy healer who has coached secretly in Soviet Moscow, by her mother, and is now considered a world expert in holistic wellness. She leads a successful private practice with a prestigious client list and acts as a senior consultant to leading spas. Allah is the author of the internationally best-selling Energy Secrets and Your Secret Laws of Power. So you can check her out. Definitely, it's got some really great meditations and protection exercises in here. The ones that I use the most come from this book. Also, I've not, this is one Spirit told me to pick up. I have not gotten into, I've not gotten in depth with it, which I probably should have, as I'm doing a series on relationships. And this would have probably been the best thing to read before I actually did this video. But there's this thing called work and time and having to do things to make it in this world. So lots to do. Are you in love with a vampire? Healing the Relationship Drain Game by Helene Z. Harris. Okay? And she is a leading licensed marriage, family, and child counselor, teacher, and lecturer in the Los Angeles area, and creator of psycho-shamanism, which combines traditional and non-traditional therapies with shamanic healing perspectives. So, yeah, it's a great book to read before you embark on the courtship and dating and courting relationship journey thing. Just do yourself a favor and do it. So now, like, I'm gonna have to take my own damn advice, and now I gotta read this book before I really open myself up to that. Because that's what this series is about, was talking about it and saying, okay, you know, I'm opening myself up to, because, like, you can be like, you can be single and not be open to a relationship, and you won't have anybody come in. Why? Because you're not open to it. So it's hard after you've been hurt a lot of times to it can be hard to open up and allow yourself to be vulnerable, especially every time Spirit talks you into being vulnerable again. Some jackass comes along and just rips your fucking heart out again. So, you know, it's I'm ready for something that I deserve. I don't deserve to have my heart ripped out. I'm a beautiful and wonderful being, and I have a whole lot of love in me, and I don't mind giving that to people. But at the same time, it's reciprocate, or it ain't going to be a date, you know. So I guess I need to brush up if I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to brush up on it. And then we have Energy Healing for Empaths by Lisa Campion. How to protect yourself from energy vampires, honor your boundaries, and build healthier relationships. Now, I am actually reading this book. It is part of this lady has an apprenticeship program with Reiki that I will be joining soon, and so this has been a very, very helpful book. It's very easy to read. She probably does have audio versions of it. You can also go on her website, and she's got like an amazing amount of Reiki healing and channeling. She's a psychic counselor and Reiki master teacher with more than 25 years of experience. She specializes in training emerging psychics, empaths, and healers so they can fully step into their gifts. She is author of The Art of Psychic Reiki. That's actually the first book that I read from her. It's like the first book I found in Salem. And it just jumped out at me like, oh, what? The title got me first, and then I was like, let me read the back of this book. And then I read the back of this book, and I was like, I'll be back for that book when I start making enough money to buy books. So that's what happened. And this one is Healing from Great Loss. Facing pain and grief to recover your authentic self. This is very important because a lot of times what we are carrying with us and what blocks us from having healthy relationships with other people and ourselves and other people is grief. The grief of great loss. And when we face that grief and we work through it, and then we're able to open ourselves up again for that. You know, it's scary once you love and you love deeply, and And you know, if that person dies, or if you end up in a divorce, or you lose, you know, even like it's any kind of great loss, losing jobs, you know, great loss turns your world upside down and steals your sense of security, leaving you devastated and confused. However, through healing, it can turn into an opportunity to become your authentic self and achieve renewed joy and fulfillment in your life. Written from the perspective of Dr. Michael Newton's Life Between Lives work, which is Journey of the Souls is the first book I read by him, and it eased everything. It changed everything. Spirit brought that book to me. I found it in a bookshelf in a hostel in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm telling you what, once I read accounts of a real hypnotherapist and what he just reported, what his case, what his clients, what he was seeing in his casework and in his clients, and just seeing that, and it being back, and it backed up what I had always felt was true and real about life and death and things in between. And it helped me a lot to cope with the death of my mother. It helped me to help my dad cross over. And it has been brought back to me in this book. It's by Ann J. Clark. And she is a former president of the Michael Newton Institute. So she worked closely, you know, she worked with Dr. Newton on these things. And for this book to come at me, you know, 2 years after, because it was like 2 years after Mom died that I got Journey of the Souls. Because I was really tore up, and Christianity did not provide for me something that I could accept. You know, it's like there's a little bit there, because my mama was a saint. My mama was like codependent Jesus, you know. So it was easy for me to know that she went on to heaven and stuff. But like with the whole Christian construct of heaven and hell and things like that, it's like, what about Dad? What happened to him? You know, and just to know that, like, they don't talk about that in these books. It talks about what really happens in people's real true experiences going back through to their past lives and such and things like that. Also on Netflix there's what is it called? Let me see if I can bring it up. There's Life After Death with Tyler Henry, and he is a psychic medium who goes around helping people to receive messages from their people who have passed out of this body into their next phase of existence. And he does a beautiful job at it, and that's you know, actually one of my gifts too. I've heard the disembodied speak for all my life. So so yeah, oh, come on. Well, I've got a lot of cool shows on here I need to watch. Where the hell is it? But there's one that's it's about the children. Oh, it was a whole series. And the last man, I got a whole long list here. I wish it would just show me the ones that I've watched. No. That's not what it was on, no. Oh, top searches in Our Mother's Gardens, Bridgerton, 365, Surviving Death. Surviving Death was the name of that series. And And, you know, as episode 1 is near-death experiences. A doctor is found lifeless after going over a waterfall. I actually I actually have her book right here. Bought it with the same group that I bought this with. So it was right there because I needed something from a Jesus perspective, you know, somebody from a Christian perspective too. It was called To Heaven and Back by Mary C. Neal, MD. She is an amazing doctor, and it's a true story. And for somebody from the scientific community to be able to be like, I don't care what anybody says, this is my experience, there's no explanation, but here it is, this is what happened. Then, you know, it's very credible. Not only that, but it helped give her a different understanding of God, which is still slightly different from like the religious things that she practices or whatever, but like it's different. But so yeah, so like for people with so people who are Christians associated with Christianity, that is a book for you. And like the second episode of near death experiences, or surviving death is the name of it, is Mediums Part 1, and there's Mediums Part 2, Signs from the Dead, Seeing Dead People, and Reincarnation. Reincarnation is the one where vivid details and unshakable confidence from a 5-year-old. A child psychiatrist studies cases of past life memories which occur around the world. I mean, and that's close to home. There's I have a friend of mine, and her daughter was, you know, talking about how she, you know, how her car was different and stuff like that. It's just different things. But her child was definitely going through, you know, she was still remembering her past life, and she was just a couple years old. So yeah, there's different things. It's really amazing to get into. But yeah, healing great loss. I know that's a lot, but apparently maybe there's something in that, because when you heal that great loss, whether it's losing somebody to death, to a divorce, to some sort of separation, to adoption, being separated from your birth parents, anything, whether it's losing a job, a career, a home, a dream, you know, great loss is an amazing book that helps you to work through all that, no matter what your great loss is. And I highly recommend that, because when you heal those great losses, there's not this big gap, this big hole that you're trying to fill anymore, because you've healed it. And that way you're able to come as you are to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's 47 minutes, so we're going to stop it right there. I gave you guys the references. And of course, do your own searches. Look up the words, and whatever pops up in your search, whatever resounds or speaks to you, go for it. It doesn't have to be exactly what I recommend. Let that be like a starting point where, you know, you start with that title and then end up on a whole rabbit trail where you get something that speaks more to you. I do that all the time. So good luck and happy Googling.